Joining me is the Deputy Prime Minister, Barnaby Joyce, who's also leader of the Nationals. Barnaby Joyce, thank you so much for your time. Now listen, about this latest brawl about flood relief, I like you not throwing away money, but I don't get the politics here. You spent already $1 billion in flood relief just in New South Wales alone. You've promised another $1 billion there, but you wouldn't chip into the New South Wales government's relief package, which is just $112 million, and you wouldn't chip into the Queensland government's package, getting yourself into two damaging brawls with the states. Why don't you just cough up the money and buy some peace?
Well, we do cough up the money in the Northern Rivers, and that's incredibly important. We're continually talking to the member there, both Kevin Hogan and Janelle Saffin, and I know that also the member for Richmond have all been in constant contact with the government. What happens is there's a split up between the states and the federal government. So often people say, well, it's the federal government that's responsible for everything except closing state borders, which apparently premiers are responsible for and do with gay abandon. But, you know, we work out, well, what are we prepared to pay for? We've got a massive... I've been negotiating this morning on how much is coming forward for roads to upgrade, which will pick up 80% of the bill on so much of that. So we've got billions of dollars that we've spent, and we've got billions of dollars to go. But obviously within that realm, issues such as the states are supposed to have the primary responsibility in things pertinent to housing, and getting back into your house is a responsibility of the states. They do collect GST revenue. They do have their own budgets, just like us, and we do give money to the states, and money comes from the taxpayers via reason of GST and grants and so many other ways, and they get their money from the royalties for coal and so many other mechanisms of stamp duty, and they have a responsibility to put their hand in their own pocket as well. But rather than have a fight with the states, I'd rather focus on
I totally get that. I totally get your argument. And if it wasn't just 1 month from an election, I'd say big tick. But this goes to whether the Prime Minister's office have got political antennae up, because this is costing you bad headlines.
Well, we have to, and we are in continual negotiations with the state, with the local members of those areas all the way through Queensland, to make sure we bring about the best outcome. That is also within the remit of our capacity to pay. Now, in Lismore, it's a particular area. In that area, it's a 1 in a 500-year flood, so it's just diluvian. And we acknowledge that other areas have had floods, terrible floods, but within Lismore, it's just beyond the pale. So we're making sure that we do what we can, and we're in constant negotiations with the local member there, with Kevin Hogan from Page, with obviously Janelle Saffin is also getting through so much that adds to the case of what we need to do to make sure we get through the package, but that has to go hand in glove with the state.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, but it's one month from an election and you're behind, and you get decisions like this. If you're throwing out billions, you know, look, I'm preaching economic irresponsibility here, but your survival's on the line here.